So far, this whole room is giving like Nebula, zoom, 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 Vietnam, girl of the 21st century.
Well, that was one of the inspirations, so I'm glad you got that. I'm gonna tell you the truth, the real story. And if you've been here for a long time or you followed along, everything you're about to see in this video might surprise you. So welcome back to, hey, what's happening?
She's from New York, and now in Palm Springs. Watch Courtney build the colorful world of her dreams. And color me spaces, color me spaces.
I hope you're still loving the theme song, and I might have a new surprise for you about it next week. But until then, in this series, we're brightening our home room by room and color by color. And you know by now that I hate purple, so why would I ever do a purple bedroom? Before we find out, let's take a look at exactly what we're working with. Pull the lever, crunk. Let's see the before. This is our ensuite. Come on in. So there's a bed or an area for you to have your bed here. Over here, there's like some mirrored closet doors. I think we might keep those because I think they're always nice to have. There's this build-in here. Just looks like a little dated. I feel like we could maybe do better either by customizing this one or updating it in some way. I love that this bedroom gives you access to the backyard through this sliding glass door. Over here right now we have some nightstands and some light fixtures, just stuff that came with the house, nothing that we put our own personal touch on. There's a TV mounted on the wall here. I feel like this is the right place for a TV, so we'll probably keep ours here. We might just make it updated so it's a little bit more functional so that the swivel works like in a different way. I call this the Cherie bedroom because my best friend Cherie stays here when she comes to visit. This ensuite is pretty straightforward. It's just your typical square bedroom shape with the bathroom offset. I kind of hate it, but luckily I have the power to change it. And since purple can represent wisdom, royalty, spirituality, creativity, and even villainy, the theme for this room is power. Ooh. And here's my master plan. I take you on a galactic journey that celebrates power, space, whimsy, girlhood, and maybe even a dash of villainy. Because I'm the bad guy. Duh. We'll keep our monochromatic rule with layers of lilac, amethyst, and eggplant. And since rules are meant to be broken, we'll break things up with bits of pinks and blues too. Because this is my show and I do what I want. I found and fell for this print on spoonflower that you can make into a wallpaper or bedding and decided to build the whole room around it. You probably noticed that I'm a gold hardware girly, but I feel like a space room needs something silver instead. And I usually avoid brown at all costs, but what if we included some in this room? Who even am I? Because it's kind of fun to do the unexpected. This bedroom is connected to the pink bathroom that we kind of designed with my best friends Bobby and Keiko in mind because they come to visit often, but so does my mentee turned little sis, Melissa Black, and she loves the color purple, so I'm keeping her in mind when I designed this space. I'ma need space, I'ma need space. But I fear a purple bedroom can kind of veer teen, and we want this space to feel elevated yet grounded. It might be a little bit of a challenge, but I think we're up for it. So let's get to work. One of the biggest parts of this room is wallpaper. I wanted it to be metallic, so I went through so many options trying to find the right one. And even considered designing my own paper, which would have cost me thousands. But then I found this one at Spoonflower, and I asked the artist to scale it up for me, just like I did our pink wallpaper in the bathroom. And boom, a perfect, impactful wallpaper moment. Okay, the wallpaper's all done. Do you want to see how it turned out? What? What do you think, Pear?
It looks great.
You like it?
Yeah, it's giving Thanos.
It's not giving Thanos, but like also it kind of is because we are going for a space vibe here. So I'm not mad that that's what you got from this room. We have wallpaper and it looks so good. I'm glad that we scaled it all the way up and went with the metallic finish because I just think it adds a little something. This is the wall where our bed is gonna go. So we need to add that, add a rug, and add some nightstands. I love a velvet bed. I just think it looks so elegant and updated. So I went with this purple one and I love that it has these like silver details. Then I found some silver nightstands to kind of bring everything together. I like that these ones have a little bit of black too because we have that sprinkled throughout the room. Oh, and the rug. I had this specific rug in mind when I was designing the space. I just like curved, circular, unique shaped rugs. but it's not big enough. It doesn't come in a big enough size. So I considered doing 2 and I thought that would look weird. So I like that this one's actually mostly gray, sprinkled in with some blues, some purples, and even a little bit of pink, because it really just works with all of the colors we already have going on in the room. A little wallpaper was not enough to power this room, so we're adding some to this existing build-in before styling it and putting it back together. I'm loving how it pops against the bright wood tone. Once upon a time, purple dye was super rare, turning it into this exclusive color associated with royalty and the rich few who could afford it. And today, dark hues like royal purple still signal elegance and luxury. Violet purples closer to blue are tied to wisdom and calming vibes. And there's a spiritual connection too, especially for amethyst, which is tied to protection, inner strength, and a little bit of mystery. You might think of a witch wearing black, but she's probably wearing purple. Bright purples, bold magentas, and electric tones are for imagination, creativity, and rebellion. Kinda like this cinematic masterpiece that we don't discuss nearly enough. I'm a punk rock prom queen. And light purples like lavender give nostalgia, elegance, even romance, and they're perfect for spring. But don't get me started on lilac versus lavender. That's a whole conversation we're not ready to have in this video. I don't necessarily love how the TV looks on the wall, and obviously it's very white. We need some color. Probably our best option is to paint, but we have to find the perfect shade. My first instinct was to go lavender. Lavender can just go really teen, really fast, and I don't want this to look like a teen girl's room. First thought was to go more of these like purpley blues, but I just don't like how they look with these hues because there's a little bit more red, a little bit more pink in that color scheme. I was entertaining going here, which is like pretty much a perfect match for the wallpaper, as you can see. I decided to split the difference and go here. So it is more of a blue, cool purple and less of a warm tone like we have here, but it still matches back really nicely without being too matchy-matchy, you know? When I'm picking paint colors, I like to look at the whole color family because a lot of times it might look lighter or darker than the color you actually pick depending on the lighting. So make sure you're happy with the color above and the color below the one you choose. Let's pop to the store, pick up some paint, and then paint this wall. Why would we have white walls when we could have purple ones? I think we picked the right paint color. It's feeling bright and fresh without getting too youthful. Spent all yesterday painting and now everything's dry and here's how it looks. For reference, this is the color that we painted and it turned out pretty good. I was kind of worried about how it would look with our wallpaper, but I think it looks really good. And our pink bathroom is in here. So it all had to kind of work cohesively, and I think it does. It's not an exact match as you can see, but they're sisters, not twins. Now this wall needs a desk, and so we're gonna hang a floating desk right there, but that requires a level and a little bit of work. And maybe should have just bought a normal desk. Don't do anything normal. Wish me luck. So when I met Martha Stewart, she gave me a drill, but it's in New York. So this is not my Martha drill, but Martha's always here in my heart. She came up to me and she said, "Do you have a drill?" And I said, "No, I don't have one." And she said, "Every girl needs a drill." She snapped her fingers, said, "Judy." Judy went and grabbed me a drill and then gave it to me. So I found this brown desk that actually adheres to the wall so it floats. There's no legs, and I thought it would be really cool, but then I forgot that I'd actually have to install it to the wall. So it comes with 3 of these little silver guys, and you just have to screw them into the wall with this drill. Really the hardest part is getting everything level, so that's why we're using a level. The silver things are on the wall. We really just have to adhere the desk to those, and then fingers crossed, it will float. The biggest thing is you have to get it on a stud so that it's actually gonna adhere to like the part of the wall that's most secure. I rarely entertain adding brown. I always prefer like a more glam feel of black and white and how it contrasts against color, but I do think this brings the right vibe to this room. It's kind of like a mid-century modern feel, and really one of the inspirations for this room, aside from space, was doing this like retro-futurism, which we really saw in the 60s, and that feels very true and fitting for Palm Springs. If you've seen the 2025 version of Fantastic Four, there's a lot of Retro-Futurism in that movie, so maybe you'll see a little bit of that in this room. This is the like main walkway into the bedroom and where you go if you're going to the bathroom. So I thought like a big bulky chair would just break up the space here. So instead, we're doing this little stool here. It does have some black in it, which I wasn't really planning on introducing to the room. So I'll maybe have to add that in a few other accessories, but that's a problem for future Courtney. I just like how this slides all the way underneath so that it can be out of the way. But then if you wanted to use this as a desk, boom, pow, bang, it works. So for curtains, I decided to do 2 colors just because I make the rules and I can do whatever I want here. But you already know how I feel about purple, and specifically like this darker color purple. I thought breaking it up with this magenta color that I actually really like would help me get on board with the whole thing a little bit more. I'm gonna do 2 curtains on this side and then 2 on the other side. For most days, these curtains will be open and you'll just see something like this. And as much as I hate white walls, I do think they're kind of nice to break up the space. I might end up painting these gray one day, but for now they're gonna stay white. This corner is still feeling a little bland, so I think it's the perfect place to add a chair and maybe a little table. I found this red chair at a warehouse sale in Palm Springs, like really on in this journey before I even knew what this room was gonna look like. But it is kind of red, kind of pink, and truly not a perfect match, but I think perfect is boring and it's always more interesting when things are just a little askew. Also, when you have velvet on velvet on velvet, it always kind of tricks the eye and lets you get away with not being white. I just found this little side table at a local store, and it gives me like serious Jetson vibes. Like I feel like this is Judy Jetson's room, kind of, so it's perfect here. Been a little torn on what to do with this wall now that it's purple. It's just kind of like a weird shape for a gallery wall because it's more this way than this way, but I usually like art that's this way. I ended up finding 2 pieces of art at a local store that I really love, which is rare for me. I very rarely will buy art from a store. I like to buy it from like an artist, but these just are perfect for the space. I also got this print to hang in this frame. But if I include that, I can only include one of my guys that are that size. I found some more art like this, which it's fine. I just feel like we could do better. But I did like that this is an odd shape. I usually design my gallery walls online. Like I take all the measurements of the art and the wall and I just play with it, play with it, play with it. But I've been doing that for hours and I still can't find a design that I like. I might do something really crazy and just do these prints. Like 2 of them together, symmetrical. I just don't want it to look like a hotel. I want this to feel like a room. So we hung one of the pieces of art and we're getting ready to hang the other one like even, symmetrical, perfect, doing all the math required to do that. But then I thought, wow, I actually kind of like them off a bit. So I think we're gonna hang them off a bit, like instead of those are obviously the scientific terms. Purple is such a passionate and layered color, so it kind of makes sense that it's associated with some of the most complex characters too, especially the bad guys. Have you noticed how many of them wear purple? When I hosted the red carpet for Guardians of the Galaxy, I asked the actors how color represents their characters, and one who played the villain said, "I'm in purple." Ever since, I'm in purple has become color me lore, where Paris and I, and even some of my best friends, will say it anytime anyone's being a little bit bad. So you can say it too. I'm in purple. He's in purple. She's in purple. It's very fun. And now you know our secret. Speaking of bad, so many things started going wrong with this room. From things I bought that just didn't work out to big space dreams I had that didn't come true. But purple is more about passion and progress than it is perfection. So this room is both a work of art and a work in progress. And it's okay if you're like that too. I wanted a chair like this for the room, but I couldn't find it in the right color, so I repurposed one from the red room instead. And the bedding that I designed everything around didn't come in quite right. I could have tossed it and started over, but decided to make it work instead. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you the truth, the real story that I only tell a select few Color Me Cuties, usually when I meet them in person and it's never recorded and preserved on the internet, but now that's you. So are you ready to hear it? Come closer, closer. Whoa, too close. Okay, here's the thing. I don't really hate purple. You see, once upon a time, I made this rainbow bookcase and I didn't include purple, but actually I did. It just didn't make it onto the video because of the framing. So then everyone assumed that I just hate purple. And instead of correcting them, I let them believe that. Since purple people are the most passionate people, overnight it became this whole story that Color Me Courtney hates purple. And yeah, I could have corrected them, but where's the fun in that? So instead, I leaned into it. You see, I just like to shock people, and so many people assume they know everything about me because of the way I look, dress, or since I like color. So anytime I have the opportunity to take them off guard, I do it. So this room is my redemption arc, or maybe my villain origin story. Let's see how it turned out. We've landed on a purple planet. Let's take a look. So the theme of this room is power, and I wanted to create like a spacey space. So we combined the passion of purple with the whimsy of the color to create something that's out of this world. One of my favorite parts of this room is this wallpaper. We did this kind of mod 60s print, which is also when the whole space race thing was going on, so it kind of ties into the theme perfectly while also being true to Palm Springs. For the bed, we did purple velvet with a little bit of silver on top. I also mixed in more velvet throughout the bedding with pillows and blankets just to kind of give it that rich textured feel. There is a little bit of pattern play going on with this print here that we kind of designed the whole room around, and I think it looks really nice against the wallpaper. Over here we have our silver nightstands and our beautiful purple and blue rug. I like that this brought two different colors into the space because although this is the purple room, you will notice there's quite a bit of blue, which I just feel like makes the purple even stronger.
This lamp is giving Sputnik vibes.
That was kind of the inspiration. And I know I did silver in this whole room, but I decided to do gold for the lamps and kind of mix it up a bit.
The other light looks like a planet. I don't know if you plan it or not. But
I did kind of plan it to look like a planet. This was actually Trent's, and then we wanted to keep it here in this room just kind of as one of a few homages to him we have going on here. And over here in this corner, we have another light. It's also gold, but it doesn't match because I thought it'd be fun to kind of do mix match lights. But our nightstands do match. So they are twins where our lights are sisters. And speaking of sisters, we also have kind of a mix match curtain situation going on. Of course, it's velvet. Everything in this room is velvet. We just like using velvet, but we did do two separate colors, one pink and one purple, just because I thought it would be a little bit more interesting than doing purple curtains all over. Over here in this corner, we used this existing brown build-in and gave it a new life with a little bit of wallpaper. Then filled it with so many purple odds and ends to make it really pop because I love styling a bookcase.
yeah, I love that you added in like the wallpaper behind and added in some of the pieces that you did to give it a little bit more gravity.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
thanks. This was just an excuse for you to do a space pun. It wasn't a real compliment. It was a space pun disguised as a compliment. Right next to the build-in, we kept this full body mirror, which was actually a holdover from the original space and is hiding a closet. And then over here, the last area of this room is this desk that kind of defies gravity because it's floating here on the wall. We did it in brown, which is a little bit unexpected for me, but with all the like silver spacey details, I thought having brown would kind of ground it and make it feel a little more homey and not too hotel, if you know what I mean. Since this is a guest room, I don't think too many people will be using it as a desk, but we just wanted to create a little workspace, especially since both of us work from home. It's nice to kind of have separate rooms where you can get work done. Over here, we added a few more blue details with this blue vase and this blue tray, plus found some really cool, like spacey modern art to hang up on the wall. This purple bedroom is actually connected to our pink bathroom. And this purple room ended up being the perfect place to hang What a Wonderful World. This is a really special art piece that was made by my mom's best friend Rita, who was also just a really important figure to me growing up. She was a fantastic artist and she painted this of me when I was like 11 or 12. She just wanted to capture that time in a girl's life kind of before you're presented to the world where things maybe feel a little bit more magical. So she painted me as a fairy in my little ballerina outfit sitting on the world, and she called it What a Wonderful World.
I know, Court. I think overall it's out of this world.
Thank you. That means so much coming from you, the Space King himself. Purple people, did I make you proud? But now that you know my juicy secret, I want to know what you thought of this room and what color you want to see on next week's episode of
Color me space.
But don't forget to subscribe because I'd hate for you to miss it. Okay, bye.